What's up everyone, this is Brett from the BEERMKR team. Today we're going to be walking through the step-by-step instructions to set up your BEERMKR for the brew step. So what we've got here is everything that you need to set up your brew. Obviously you've got your BEERMKR, we've got your squeeze bar, your brew tub and lid, your brew basket, your water pitcher for measuring out water. We've got 2 gray valves with black gaskets, 2 white valves, and that's actually everything that comes with your BEERMKR. Next, we've opened up our maker kit and laid everything out. We don't need everything right now, but I do want to show you everything. So, from a hardware standpoint, we've got your beer bag and your waste bag. Then we've got all the ingredients you need in this step, and that's your grains and this little tiny pill of servo. Your hops and yeast, as well as CO2, we don't need them right now. So we're going to throw the hops and yeast inside your fridge for storage and put these somewhere for the end. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and get your system set up to brew. So the first thing you're going to want to do is take your white valves and we're going to attach them to your beer bag. So you basically take this long end and stick it inside the bag and screw them in. And you want to screw these in tight, but not so tight that you feel like you're ripping the bag. Also, we're actually going to take this servo pill and drop it in your beer bag before you put in your other valve. I'm going to cut that. So drop that in, and then install your second valve. And again, make sure you're not grabbing the bag too tightly. So, next we're going to install our gray valves. And so you're going to take one and screw it into your waste bag. And your second one actually goes into the bottom of the brew tub. And these should kind of end up facing forward so you can access these buttons. And again, do them pretty tight. A firm screw in is what we're looking for. Alright, now we're going to actually go ahead and assemble these parts and pieces inside your BEERMKR. So first step is to take your brew tub and install it. There's actually a barb on the back of this machine and a little gasket that it fits into. So make sure that that goes in nicely. So you kind of go in at an angle and drop it in. Open up your brew tub lid. Drop your brew basket inside. Now we're going to go ahead and install your beer bag. So first you want to make sure that this top valve is facing out. You can kind of lift up your brew tub and hang this right here on the hanger inside. Flatten it out. Now we're going to go ahead and install your waste bag. And so these are these quick connect valves. We actually just want to click them into place. There's a little flange there to kind of grab onto. Make sure you're not ripping the bag and squeeze them closed. You'll hear a nice click. And then same with the top valve. Go ahead and install it to the bottom of the brew tub. Now that that's all in place, we're going to install our squeeze bar. So on the sides, you're going to notice that there's 2 positions. So make sure you're installing it into the furthest position in. If you drop that into place, give the bottom a little tug and you know that you're securely in place. So your BEERMKR is all set up. We've got our brew basket in place, sitting in our brew tub. Our valves are all connected and our squeeze bar is in place. So the very first step is you're going to fill up your unit with 3,000 milliliters of water. We recommend using tap water, just plain tap water out of your faucet, or you can filter it if your tap water tastes a little weird. You are not supposed to use reverse osmosis, distilled, or deionized water. Those waters lack the essential minerals that yeast need to perform healthy fermentation. So go ahead and actually just pour this right into your system. And as you pour this in, you can start to check that your system is working correctly. You'll have water flowing from the brew tub into the beer bag and all the way down into the waste bag. And this is also a good opportunity to make sure that you've installed everything correctly, you're not getting any leaks. So what we suggest you do is kind of look around the rims of your valves to make sure that there's no little drops of water. You want to make sure that you've got water all the way into your waste bag, and it's also, you're totally fine with kind of giving this a little press. But we're looking good here, and now we're going to move on to our grains. You can follow along on your recipe card here. What we're adding for our future IPA is 1,000 grams of 2-row. You can just dump these right in. These are all pre-portioned, so you don't have to weigh or measure anything. We've got 200 grams of our flaked oat. And again, in this step, if you go ahead and touch this stuff, it's not a big deal. This is all going to go through a pasteurization step, so everything will be clean. So that was We've added our carapils, 200 grams of that. And then finally we've got 100 grams of Vienna malt. And so before we add the second amount of water, let's go ahead and flatten this out to make sure that all this stuff gets saturated with water. All right, now we're going to add the last bit of water to fill the machine up. The Future IPA calls for 3,800 milliliters in this step, so a total of 6,800 milliliters. But make sure to check your recipe card because this is recipe specific. So now we're going to just pour this in the top, trying to make as little mess as possible. And like I said, the amount of water is recipe specific. It all kind of has to do with the ratio of grains to water, and it'll end up giving you your recipe specific ABV. So that is all poured in there. Our machine's already pretty much full of water, but I would recommend doing one last check. Again, we're looking at these seals of valves. You want to make sure you don't see any bulging gaskets or any drips of water, and we're looking totally good. If you do see anything, all you really have to do is kind of give your valves a quick squeeze to make sure, that these are properly engaged. So now we're going to close your beer maker up. Go ahead and close the lid. Press that down all the way to make sure that that seal's fully engaged. Close your latches. Take your top, set those in place, and close it up. And so you've been following along this whole time on your app, looking at these step-by-step instructions. And so what you do when you get to the end is you hit done. And so that's going to close that recipe and tell you you're ready to go. And then you press the button here for about a second. And this light is going to switch from that blinking white light to what's now a slower pulsing white light. And this thing's actually going to wake up. You're going to hear the fans whirl a bit, and that means it's heating up. During the brewing process, we recommend that you don't open up your machine. It's not dangerous. There are some hot elements, but we do want to make sure that this is insulated and getting up to temp as efficiently as possible. Well, now this machine is getting ready to brew. In about 24 hours, you're going to pitch your yeast. So, we'll see you tomorrow.